Hi, welcome to episode 38 of the Yoga and Other Shit podcast. Today we're having Rebecca Trussell on. She's our yoga therapist friend who we had on last April. And this time we want to kind of try to start, don't worry about the dogs, we want to start structuring the podcast a little bit differently, where we have a lot more opportunity to get involved with the things that we're talking about. So what we did was, this book inspired Rachael and I to talk about the Psoas and exchange our techniques for releasing our own Psoases and Psoasm. And so we have a couple the Psoai. So we have a couple clips to add to this podcast to show you how we would release our Psoas. So I brought Human Garage and their Psoas release, which you'll see in a second. And then Rachael took me through her expertly studied methods for releasing the Psoas. So we've got 3 different techniques for releasing the Psoas. And then we brought Rebecca in to show us her way of releasing the Psoas. And we put it all together in a conversation. So enjoy. Yeah.
Fascia. So let's do the Psoas release.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna step back. Take both hands, put it in right around your hip. So my belly button is here. So my hip bone is here. So I'm putting it right here. Okay. I'm gonna grab the skin. I'm gonna pull it up. I feel it pulling right in there.
Like this.
Okay. This is on my left side. Okay. I'm gonna step forward with my other leg.
Okay.
Lean back and turn a little bit and breathe. You can slowly turn your body if you want, if you have the balance, you better. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Now, since one side's done, walk around and feel it. Feel how different it is from your other side. So also you'll notice on that side you did, your glute is looser and more active. So people are like, what do I do about my tight glutes? Well, we're a balloon. So if you're tight here, it means something here is pulling it.
We're a balloon.
Every time. Let's do the other side, right side. Pulling up on the right side, lunge forward with your left leg.
We're opposite.
Turn.
Oh, I was doing it the wrong.
Breathe.
Oh, ow.
You can even pull your hand up further if you want. It'll give you a whole nother stretch. Whew, that feels good. Now walk around.
Okay.
We'll just put it where we need. Okay, so we're gonna add on to what we just did. I think I need to at least take my shoes off. Maybe not my socks. I'm sure Yeti's gonna grab mine. So we'll start with our lunge dome.
Oh, lunge.
So kneeling crescent pose.
Okay.
So you'll come here like this. We'll tuck our tailbone under. Shift your hips forward so you start to feel that opening in the front of the hip.
I feel it.
And then you reach your arms up again and arch back like we did before. Activate your pelvic floor, your bandhas. And then you can tilt to the left a little. Feel how that feels. And so your leg, the leg that's kneeling, your kneeling leg, your foot is straight back right now. So notice everything, how this feels. You're tilting.
Ow.
And then come up straight and stop. And then shift back. Now we're going to take our foot. I'm going to move this front. You don't move your front leg. I'm moving mine so we can see. You need to scooch over a little bit.
Okay.
So the back leg, you're going to leave the knee down. You're just going to swing your foot in a little bit so that your knee starts to just point out a little bit, and you're going to roll your toes in so you're almost on the outside edge of you're not, but if you can, outside edge of your foot here the other way.
Oh.
That way. So your toes are starting to face the other way. So this leg is actually going to stay forward, but your kneeling leg is now a little bit externally rotated, and we're gonna, again, tuck the tailbone in, reach our arms up, shift our hips forward again, tucking the tailbone, and you should, it should get on the inside now, just a little bit,
that's good.
hitting a different angle. And again, then lean this way, maybe you even twist, you can twist all different ways, feel it, feel it, feel it. Come back to center, shift forward more. Take some breaths. And then shift back. And again, it doesn't have to be, it can be around 10 seconds long because we're working our way into the next stage. So you've done the standing one where you pull. Now we're doing this one. We have one more position. So come back to center. Now we're going to swing the leg just slightly inward, and then we're going to roll to the inside. So we're going to point our toes outward. I don't know if you can see mine. But yeah, this one's not. And then you can step the front foot a little bit wider. No, never mind. You can't. Step it forward. So you're in, and now you shift forward again. Reach the arms up.
Oh, that feels
and
really
then,
nice.
Whoopsie, I'm tilting.
So her foot is like this on the ground.
Facing outward.
That.
And forward, and then you come forward. So it's sort of on the inside, but it's doing also somehow something on this side because you're bringing your foot wide.
Oh, it feels great.
So it's getting a little bit more of the inner. And then we switch sides, so we'll do.
Oh, my back popped.
That knee down, and the other knee forward. Watch out for your dog.
Watch out for your dog.
Because you want to do this with your dog. So you're gonna step over your dog.
Yep.
And then, so your foot is in line with your knee in the back.
Is it toes tucked or?
Either way, I like to tuck mine because I feel like I have more balance.
Yeah.
So we'll tuck our, I don't know if you can see, so we're tucking our tailbone, so pushing forward, and then reaching up and shifting forward. Should be right in the front, right down the quad.
I feel an inner thigh stretch
Maybe.
as well.
That's good too, but we'll get to that one. That's what the other positions are for too.
Ooh. Feels good.
Another breath or two. You can tilt if you want to or not. It depends on how you feel. If you're in a rush, just go forward. And then, so we'll shift back. So now we're gonna swing our foot inward a little bit. I think you can see mine a little bit, and roll to the outside edge as much as you can so your toes are pointing that way.
Oh, wow.
And then reach up, shift forward again. So you might feel this on the inside, but then also down a little bit, wrapping around the outside. And if you don't, it's fine. Everybody's built different. We're just trying to get every little tiny soft tissue in there. The fascia, the muscles, everything. And then come back. And then come through center just for a second. Then swing your leg outward a little bit. Point the toes out. See, I think you can see mine out there. And you don't have to lay the entire inside of the foot on. It might not do that. You're just tilting your your heel that way, toes that way. Reach up, tuck the tailbone under, come forward again. Sorry, my arm is like not, my shot arm is like bent. I'm like, okay, no, it's fine. I'm gonna do this. And breathe. And you can even lift the chest up a little more on this last one.
Ooh,
really get in there. And then come down.
Wow, that was great.
And so that's stage 2. And this all shouldn't take more than 5-10 minutes because we're not going to be instructing you. You'll get it. It's pretty easy. 3 positions, good to go.
Okay.
I'm coming, Charlie.
High five.
High five. All right, last exercise that you can do in the morning. Okay, we're not doing that. Okay, you go. You get out of here. So another Psoas trigger point stretch, or release really. So you're gonna lay on the ball. So you can use a tennis ball, a lacrosse ball, or you can get an actual trigger point ball on Amazon. We will link it. And it looks like that. And it can be a little bit bigger, it can be a little bit smaller, but you want it to be pretty firm. A tennis ball is pretty firm, firm enough, so you can use that. So anyway, I want to show them where you're putting. Okay, off. Nope. Let go. Everybody let go. Nope. Okay. Oh, it's in the sink. All right. So, Mojo. Okay. Go lie down. Life with dogs. Am I right or am I right? So, you're going to put it where? So.
Between the hip and the belly button?
Yep.
Up there?
Yep.
Okay.
So, and then you're going to lay on it. So, hold it in place, and then you make your way onto get on your belly. So, all the way down on your belly, like arms, you'll stack your hands and put your forehead or chin on it, and just hang out here. Maybe you even wiggle your hips side to side. Really start to feel it. And breathe. Breathe into it. Allow your body to exhale all the way. Relax around the ball. Relax around. All right, that's too intense. Anyway, there you have. So your first thing you're going to do, and you're going to do it 3 times in a row, but I don't know, you can do it 3 times in a row. So you're going to come up onto your forearms, kind of like Sphinx pose, but you don't have to come up this high. If it feels too intense, she's been doing it for a little while, so she can come up here. So, but if not, bring your arms forward a little bit more. So you can just be up like this, like barely up at all. Just start to lift your chest a little. That's the beginning, or you can come to where she is. Work your way up.
I was kind of doing almost
you're
like
there.
an up dog.
Yeah, and you can do that once you get to that. Or you can just start baby, see if you like it, and then go there. So you do that 3 times. So you inhale, you come up, you take a few breaths here.
Ooh.
And then you lower gently down, exhale. And then hang out here for a second, then you do it 2 more times, breathing in and out, breathing in and out.
It really
Okay,
melts.
How did you get that? I know who got it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it in my pocket. So then from here, the next thing we're gonna do, if you can see, I don't know.
Hear me, lady.
So the extended version of this, I'm getting bitten, is you lift your chest up again, and then you're gonna, whatever side the ball is on, you can't see, you're gonna lift your leg up. So you're gonna press your hip, into the mat. No one, oops, I just took your thing off. This is not working. I'm just gonna put this over here. Group lay down, come on. So, come on guys. Yeah, here, one time. Whee! Okay, so this entire leg and knee is gonna come up straight. Point your toe, press it towards the back wall, and you're lifting your chest at the same time on the same side as the ball is up. You'll breathe 3 times, and then you lower and relax all the way down, and you do that 3 times on that side. Can you hear me? No, I'm kidding. And then you do the other side 3 times.
So I will come up and move the ball over.
Yep. So you put it in place, lay down on it, like she just did. And so you can start with your chest again, so you can do a whole other round with your, just lifting your chest, get that side used to it. That's kind of the baby step. Because when you press your hip in and lift your leg, it's pretty intense.
Targets it.
So, and this gets everything, front and back. Same thing like our standing psoas stretch where you grab and pull your skin up. This is doing a deeper version of that. So you're getting your soft tissue and your fascia all together.
Wow, yeah, the leg really makes a difference.
Yeah. So your hip bone is pressing into the mat or floor while you lift your leg and your chest, and just try to relax into it and breathe. Think about letting everything fall around the ball as you extend and breathe. And have dogs barking in the back or it won't work. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's my last one, I think.
I think so too.
And that's it.
And that's it. Bye.
Bye. So hi, I'll squat down. So hi. So this is one of the things that I would give people to do if they have a tight psoas or cranky psoas. This is one of the easiest things to do. And actually, Rachel, I'm going to switch yours and do a chair. So,
Oh, okay.
so you can do it like Rachel, no A.
Yeah.
1A over here has it if you've got yoga props. And if you only have like a dining room chair, it's a little tricky with this chair back, but you would thread your feet through that. So I'm going to have y'all come onto your backs and put your legs in the chair. And you're going to put your leg on the bolster. Okay. So this might be enough. Yeah. So this right here might be enough. Most people, when they come into this, their knees kind of splay outward. So Rachel, yours aren't doing it that much, but Rachel, yours are. So what I would have you do is put a band, that belt, around the top, like over your knees and around your thighs. And it's not going to be really tight. It's just going to be enough to support it when the knees fall open outward. Okay. So what this does, and are your hips on the floor? Yeah. Okay. So that is borderline too high for you because you're kind of petite. So like the height makes a difference, right? You're petite. Yeah. So why this posture is because it's putting your psoas in a position where it's not being pulled. So it is a little bit flexed, which kind of our mindset is like, well, if it's tight, shouldn't we be lengthening it? But you're wanting to put it in a softened position. It's completely supported. Gravity is like, it's kind of taking some of the pressure off, what we've talked about in the podcast. Yeah. And then the belt is going to be keeping you from the external rotation, which also puts pressure on the psoas muscle. So you just stay here for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes and breathe. It is an inversion, half an hour, take a nap, but it isn't. Moja's dropping the ball on the laptop.
Dog yoga.
Yeah, and you know what? If he comes up and he like hangs out with you, all the better. But the other thing this does is it can put you in a position for that helps with diaphragmatic breathing, because the psoas and the diaphragm, the attachment at the T12 area of the spine, they interdigitate. They are like connected a little bit. So when your psoas is tight, it often puts pressure on your diaphragm and vice versa. So this is a really nice place to work with your breathing. If you always feel like you have shallow breath, it could be related to the psoas muscle, and this just takes the psoas muscle offline. So it's not a stretch, but it's an offline. So it's very softening. Now, you can get this effect in legs up the wall, but if you have really tight hamstrings, you're going to be fighting that the whole time. I don't even have tight hamstrings really, and when I'm in legs up the wall, I don't feel like I can relax because it kind of feels like my legs are going to fall. I don't know if it's a mental thing that I don't trust the wall, but I just can't relax in it. So this is my preference. There is another one, an easier one, but most people do better in this one. I'm going to show you all the other ones. So pause. Okay, so I'm just going to move everything out of the way for you. Okay, so you're going to stay on your back. Okay, you can take that. You can stay here. You can stay here, actually. Okay, so I'm going to show with Rachel. It feels pretty good.
It feels good on those knots for the side when you're.
Good. So you're just going to hang out here. All right. So if you don't like this variation, this is the other one of constructive rest, looking at Rachel with 2As. So you're going to take your feet wider apart, probably around the edge of the mat. Yeah. And then I would say maybe a little further away from you than you do for bridge pose. Then keep your feet wide and just let your knees knock against each other. You like that? Yeah. So this is an alternative. Some people love this. Some people's legs won't do this. So I usually go with this one first. But if you work in an office and you have some space to lay down on the floor, you probably aren't going to have this set up. You don't need any props for this. You could just sit down and you're there. So this is a great variation because it's still taking some of the pressure off the psoas muscle. It's little bit of gravity is off of it, but it's mostly the knees resting against each other that takes the pressure off. And I don't think you like that one. I think we've tried that one, and I don't think you liked it.
Yeah, that doesn't work for my hips. But you know what this is doing? It's the deeper I allow it, it's going to the thigh, whatever that is. That like
up under your clavicle or above it.
This lymph node is like under your clavicles, like this whole thing. It's like all releasing right there.
So that's interesting because your psoas muscle is attached. It starts at T12, goes all the way down through your body, down. It's a huge muscle. So if it's tight up top, depending on where it is, this might actually give you some shoulder release to do something like that, or you may feel some kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never connected it. I've never gotten deep enough in the relaxing of it to feel it stretch to there.
And you've been in it for not even 5 minutes yet. So, it doesn't take long to just get that offline. So I usually suggest people do this at night before they go to bed. But if you are someone who, if you tend to sleep on your back and you have a tight psoas muscle, sometimes that can actually make it a little cranky because it's constantly being pulled throughout the night. So you could get up in the morning and do this, and it may kind of, if you feel like your back hurts in the morning, it's worth a shot. So yeah, you guys just want to stay here, don't you?
Yeah. What a podcast.
Who needs to record anything?
Thank you so much. I feel so relaxed.
We'll just leave Rachel.
We'll just leave Rachel there. Okay.
There we go.
I just love him so much.
He's such a good.
You can come home with me. I'll have y'all stand.
Oh, yeah.
And have y'all stand. Grab one block. Okay. And we're back. And we're back. Okay. So what you're going to do is on the low height with the block, you're going to stand on it with 1 foot. So Rachael, I don't really think so stand on it with 1 foot. Can you actually turn to face the camera?
Oh, yeah.
I just
Okay.
did an angle and you were going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's got the chair there to hold on to if she needs that. Okay. So when you're standing on the block like this, you're going to, preferably by a wall, but we're just pretending we have one. So I'm here if you need to grab my arm. But you're going to try to get your hips at about the same level. And then that leg that's hanging, you both have your left leg hanging. You're just going to let it be dead and kind of push it back and let it start swinging. So I actually like to use I'm going to step in front of here. So I actually kind of like to use the hand and push it back and get it going. Yeah.
Oh, that disconnection to reconnect.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of takes over that, and then just let it kind of swing and just kind of push it back. So a little less vigor. So yeah.
I'm trying to really disconnect from component.
And just trying to let your leg be dead, like kind of dangly. And I do say you could also do this on the bottom step of a staircase.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Not the top?
For the well-being of my heart, please don't ever do this at the top of the step, but at the bottom step. And then that's probably been about a minute. So I'm going to have y'all step off and just stand and observe what you're feeling.
It's alive.
Right?
Came back to life from being dead. Oh. That was like one of those.
It feels like it's longer. And I will say, like, the opposite leg is going to be working really hard.
Yeah.
You'll feel it in the glute. So there's a little bonus on that.
Yeah.
But you probably don't want to do it for longer than a minute on each side. So, yeah.
That's like shocking someone back to life for the leg.
Feels it.
Because it died.
Yeah.
So do the other side, yeah, because you will feel, I usually have people walk around and they feel like one hip is kind of like kicking out, So yeah, so starting off and then just using that hand to kind of keep the leg dead, and then you can push it back and just let it start swinging. That's the challenging part, is to not want to take over.
Well, and then I also want to do this.
Yeah.
Also, all this wants to curl.
So I call that sassy hip. Can you do that again? Here, I'll do it. So you want to avoid sassy hip, just hanging out in that hip. So you want a little bit of engagement. And yeah, my left hip, when I'm standing on that leg, same thing. It's like, oh yeah, I got to bring it in. Oh yeah, I got to bring it in. So yeah, and just do that a little bit longer.
My hand is making all kinds of weird symbols.
Yeah.
You gotta trying to put that tension somewhere else.
Do it.
It's in this glute right now.
And
that's where my tension.
It is a lot easier to relax when you're holding onto the wall. So that is part of part of the thing. Yeah, try that. See how it's like you've got a little support and you can let a little of that gripping go because you're not having the balance.
Oh boy. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. And then just see if it feels kind of evened out.
Ah. Yeah. Wow.
So those are the two I would do. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. In unison? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Hello, we're here.
Yay.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome.
We have on the show today Rebecca Trussell.
Hi.
And she is, check this out, one of our founding guests.
OG.
I feel really special.
You are.
You are really special.
You are.
Thank you guys for having me back for a second time. It was so much fun last
Well,
time.
and
So that was
we
a
have
great
so
conversation.
much.
Yeah, so much has happened, but that was such a great conversation.
And I just want to point out that Elizabeth wasn't there that time either, and
Aw.
she's not
Uh-oh.
now. So I'm not taking it personally.
Oh, we love Elizabeth.
I know. I was actually texting with her. She told me she was traveling.
Oh yeah, it was so. But yeah, we were hoping we'd have her, but we're so glad to have you back, and we learned so much from you last time.
Yes.
And then we were talking recently about having you back, and decided that it'd be really cool to focus on the Psoas because that seems to be where everything comes down to the Psoas.
Yes.
So Psoas. Just kidding.
So,
Wait, well, I gotta say one thing because I
Please.
our number one fan.
Mm.
So my word for the year was flourish.
flourish.
And our number one fan, Grace Brown, brought me this shirt
That
the
is
other
so
day.
special.
Just randomly.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Flourish. That's a good word for the year, too.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Weird year already.
yeah. Oh, gosh.
I forgot my word already.
I didn't make one.
We'll
I
have
usually
to.
do, but
Yeah, we talked about it on our New Year's episode, and it was like, I was like, I don't care.
The whole thing is though, like you got all year.
It's up to you. Yeah.
You could find a word like in March.
Exactly, and that there's cyclical. We're all in our own cyclical cycles of being and relating to the world. So it's like create your own. Like you can start one in March, you can start one in May, and then measure yourself through 3 months. You know,
And change it.
customize.
That's true.
Have a theme for the week.
there
Who
are
cares?
no rules for it.
There are no rules.
I didn't have an intention or a word or anything like that, but I did. I have been drawn to be reading Mary Oliver. And so I am trying to read some of her poems. Not every day, because I'm not an everyday kind of person, but it's kind of like she's my mystic for the year. So
Oh, I love
I
that.
love that too. Mary Oliver is your mystic for the year. And when you said poems, that made me feel like romanticize the little like things in your life. Like,
have you ever read Mary Oliver?
no, now I will.
She's all about like living in the present. And like, yeah, you need to, she's awesome.
Well, we're gonna make sure we make a note of that.
Of course, I don't have one in mind, but I'll send y'all some.
No worries.
Okay.
We know they're in the ether somewhere.
They're out there.
Cool. Well, so
You do the questions because my phone is there.
we are trying to be more organized, but also lean into authenticity. So
Yes.
you're experiencing our first attempt to sort of organize, but it's going to turn into an organic, beautiful conversation anyway.
We are nailing the authenticity right now.
Crushing it. So with that said, we forgot to bring the book to hold up, but
No,
we'll cut it in.
wait.
Oh,
But
why am I
wait.
speaking for you? Of course you remembered it. Look at
The
that.
book is here.
Of course she has the book.
But do I have it on the table? I didn't. This book, hopefully that's the one.
No, I'm
The
just kidding.
Vital Psoas.
Okay, that.
Yeah,
The
so-
Vital Psoas.
We were talking about the Psoas, and then Rachel said, I have a book about the Psoas and how it connects your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And so we were looking through it thinking of you. So what inspired our attempt to be organized this episode is we flipped through for things that either she had marked down or things that I was like, yes, we need to show Rebecca that sentence and see what you think. So that's sort of the style of this
And you can be
interview.
like, that's BS or
That's
whatever.
garbage. No.
We won't say the
I
author
haven't
just in
read it.
case. No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, so that's sort of what it was like, what jumps out, and that's it. So I'm gonna read what first jumped out to us. But first I want to say somatic science is the science of the body. Somatic intelligence is the body's intelligence. That is something that was written in here.
Nice.
She says nice. Okay.
Nice.
So with that, the first thing was the gut-brain connection. So I'm just going to read this paragraph and then we'll just discuss. Basically,
Yes.
is what I want to do. That's cool.
That's cool.
Okay. So this is from page 75 of this book, The Vital Psoas Muscle. The gut area houses the enteric nervous system that functions in a way as a brain within the gut, intestines, in parentheses. The enteric system receives input from the parasympathetic and sympathetic systems. All three are part of the autonomic nervous system that controls organs and muscles in the body involuntarily. There is also a somatic nervous system that voluntarily affects the skeletal muscle. Both systems make up the peripheral nerve complex and can affect the psoas as part of the reflex of fight or flight in emergencies and rest and digest in non-emergencies. And so then we wanted to know, can you tell us about the enteric nervous system?
I'm glad you asked that question, Rachel. Not really. No. So a little bit. The enteric nervous system is fascinating. I would not do it justice. There's a book which I haven't read by this guy Michael Gershon, who is called The Second Brain. And that's where I would point you. He was also interviewed on a podcast with Peter Attia. Not promoting podcasts necessarily, just saying it was really fascinating.
So we talk about our favorite podcasts on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, I would listen to these podcasters and then get really disappointed in their behavior. So I'm afraid to be like, listen to this guy. But so far I like him. He interviews a lot of good people, and that guy, I was just listening. It's like a 2-hour podcast. It's like,
wow.
It was blowing my mind. Yeah. So the enteric nervous system is very intertwined, but usually when we're talking about like the nervous system and regulation, we're going to be talking about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic.
Okay.
So that's probably all I could say that would do justice to the enteric nervous system. But it is a really interesting one.
Okay.
But if we need to know anything about a nervous system, it's the basics for what we'll be talking about. Parasympathetic and sympathetic is gonna kind of keep us.
It's going to keep you in this idea. So you have brief overview of the nervous system. You've got your central nervous system, spinal cord, all that kind of stuff. And then you have your peripheral nervous system, which is where the autonomic nervous system is housed, and the somatic. So the autonomic is involuntary, somatic is voluntary. So that's like, I'm going for a run. You are telling your muscles to move through your nervous system, through your central nervous system, kind of. And then the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic, let's just call it the SNS and the PNS.
Okay.
So they don't have to keep saying PNS. So, well, this is the yoga and other shit podcast.
Yes.
So, let's just
Let's be here now.
Let's embrace it. So, if you think about it, in just the most basic terms, the SNS is your activated system. The PNS is your deactivated system. So SNS is like get it done. It often gets termed fight or flight, which I think is kind of a disservice because you want to be active in this. Like it's good for us. This is where we work out. We're in your gym. We work out. We run. We play. We talk. We eat. All those kind of things. Your PNS is where you rest, you digest, you let down, sleep, breathing, all those kind of things. So you want. When people think of regulation, a lot of times I think there comes in this idea of like, I want to be calm all the time. And regulation is actually being able to move with ease between the two. So you're going to get activated. I got activated on the way over here when somebody cut me off, but then I calmed myself down and enjoyed the beautiful view. So it's, it's like, it's recognizing that both those things have a place. So that's kind of the overview of the nervous system. There's a lot more to it, but that's a good overview.
That reminds me a lot of paralleling thought, trying to manage your mind. But that's the body doing it. It's like when you're trying to do that with your thoughts, like managing your emotions when someone cuts you off and coming into an equilibrium of analyzing that you're the observer of your emotion and you can choose not to react to it. Yeah. It feels like that is what those two systems are doing.
That's kind of, that actually is an interesting way of looking at it.
It's like the roots of the tree and the leaves.
And you're not invalidating the reaction and the emotion. You're
observing it and choosing not to fall into the spiral of the emotion.
Yeah, right? You can still feel it. You can still express the emotion.
Let it come all the way through.
But you're not going to have it take over necessarily.
Don't drown. So maybe that's like, wow, that's just what I visualized. It was like, that's the lower part, acting out the physiology of what's going on in your. Yes. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you. That was beautiful. That's so lovely. And this is the next question, and I made it all dramatic. The Psoas is tight because of computers? ? Mm-hmm. And then I go on to explain a bit. Actually, there's only one sentence. This is on page 119. It says, opening the heart, rib cage, and throat is hard for many people, but necessary in this age of computers where a closed chest is the norm. That just hit me. It was like, is that societal? Like, are we all slowly closing our hearts with just how we're living our lives?
Yes and no. Like, I don't think we can blame computers completely. I mean, like, my grandmother was born in 1915 and used to have to go out in the field and chop cotton. And you're not opening your heart when you're doing that, you know, and they'd be out there for hours. And then, you know, like, think about if someone's a seamstress or a hairdresser, a cook. Like, have you ever, what's that show? I only watched 1 or 2 episodes. It stressed me out. Yeah, The Bear.
I didn't watch
Have you ever watched them? Like, it's so hectic.
Is this bears acting like humans?
No, it's a cooking show.
Oh.
I mean, it's not cooking, it's a drama about a chef. So anyway, like, if you watch cooks in the kitchen, I mean, you're stirring, you're hunched, you're going forward, you're moving towards something, you're chopping vegetables. And if you're like me and you have a long torso, you're really hunched over when you're doing dishes. So dishes.
Wow. Yeah, well, I love that answer because I'm just like my perspective is completely shifted.
So I think the key is like the patterns and how long you spend in them. So I think that there is more of an issue because we're more sedentary and we do tend to sit more, but I don't think we can blame it all on technology. Yeah. Because I mean, before computers, before phones, I mean, if my brother had been allowed to, he would have sat in front of the TV all day during the summer. And my parents like, get out and go play. Or think about cyclists.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's like really
close chest.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that bring us into this forward position. And, but that is one of the main things. Like, if we're spending a lot of time at a desk and we're not getting up and moving, that can contribute to it. Absolutely.
Totally. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I love that answer. That's beautifully said. And then my question, I'm not even going to ask my question because my question was all dramatic.
Come on, do
I love it that you're cracking yourself up.
You already answered it.
This is why the podcast works, because we have fun questions.
You gotta give the listener what they want.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
come on, Grace, tell her. You want to
tell me. This is ridiculous because I wrote, I don't even want, because what you just answered completely negates my question. I wrote, what is the implication for the hyper-connected way we live on the body? What about kids who are lining up to work on laptops indefinitely in the forthcoming age of AI? But it's like, it doesn't matter. It's our mindset as a society that we don't prioritize whatever opening your chest looks like.
And there is something to say about, like, the adults sitting on a computer versus children. There is going to be some ramifications for that. They need to get out, they need to move. So it may developmentally be worse for them. I don't really know that. But
just with video games. That's another, like that, you got to add that into the mix too. Just really get outside.
Get outside. Yeah.
Just movement, right? I feel like that's and that's simple. Okay, cool. I love that. Boom.
Did we talk about what the Psoas is? Is that on there?
No, but we should.
Yes,
I like that.
Yeah.
You just said that.
So first of all, it's not spelled like you think it would be.
There's no Z up in that.
It's a P.
Psoas. It's P.
You gotta remember.
Why?
We don't know yet.
Happy birthday!
If I do both of them, well, no.
I don't know.
It's just
why are
yay.
there fireworks?
Were there fireworks?
Because I said yay!
Oh,
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yeah,
we're on Instagram Live behind.
Clearly,
there was
we just don't care about social media enough to get trendy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
well, that's a great picture. Yeah, that's a great picture. So this is what we're talking. You want to put it closer. This one on the side is what we're talking about. We're talking about the Psoas, And the other one on the other side is the iliacus. So it's actually the iliopsoas. They're connected. It's technically one muscle kind of formed into two. But usually when we're talking about the crankiness, we're talking about the psoas major. Yeah, psoas major. So what that is it got classified, and I don't know what that book says about it. It's always interesting to hear what different anatomy books say, but it got classified in most anatomy studies as a hip flexor, which that is what it does. It flexes the hip. It closes the hip joint. It brings your leg closer to your body.
Wow.
But in humans, so we, if you're wondering what this muscle is, if you're a meat eater, it is the tenderloin.
Okay.
Yum.
So it's delicious.
I love it.
So
It hurts so good.
It hurts so good. So it's, if you look at, I wish Mojo were up here now. No, I'm not going to say
Actually,
that.
and he injured his psoas when we were doing our, I don't want to say it,
I gotcha.
competitions of flying disc. Yeah, it's that one.
Mhm.
The F word.
This is the problem with smart dogs. You want a smart dog, but you want him a little bit dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a way to. Anyway, so he's on all fours, and there's not. It's working. It's still working the same way. It's flexing his hip, but he doesn't stand on two legs like humans do. So when humans are standing, the psoas muscle actually becomes more of a balancing act.
Oh.
So this is the reason that it gets so it's so involved in everything we do, because every step we take, we're having to activate it because it's balancing us. It's the one muscle that connects the top part of your body to the bottom half of your body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fascinating. And so when it's a little bit, if you've got, this is literally, it's kind of tiny, but yeah, if you're really interested, you can do a quick Google search. It's PSOAS, not So,
and we'll put this book just because this is the one I have. But
it looks like a good one.
yeah, I mean, it connects it with the emotions. It connects it with the chakras. I mean, it's pretty cool. She kind of covers all of it.
Oh, I love that. So it starts up at the T12 on the spine. It's attached, and it also has part of that attachment connected with an attachment for your diaphragm muscle. So they're very closely connected. And so then your psoas muscle runs from T12. It's on the back of your body, and it goes down the spine some. It's got a bunch of little attachments, and I can never remember where it does this, but then it cuts through your abdominal organs.
I know, I was trying to see.
It comes back out on the front side of your body, down across your pelvis, and it joins in with the iliacus. Yeah, and don't dig in there.
My iliac singled out.
And then that goes down into the groin, and then it, there's all these fascial attachments that go into some of your inner quadriceps. Yeah, and so
that's why I have tight inner thighs too.
It can cause adductor tightness, knee tight. You can feel pain in the knee. There's so many things that this is connected to.
So that is with the diaphragm, I believe, but we don't have the rest of the legs.
Is that the diaphragm? Oh yeah. So when you breathe, your diaphragm muscle, when you take an inhale, it goes downward, and when you take an exhale, it goes upward. And so when you're breathing, it's kind of following. I like to think of it when I'm doing breathing exercise, especially because I have a cranky psoas. And it's interesting. It was just acting up last week, which is wild because we're here now. It's not wild because it was acting up last week. But anyway, talk about emotional stuff.
No, but it's also just a coincidence.
Mine right here.
Right there. Yeah, right at T12.
That's where all my pain, all my trauma is right there.
So all of it right there. So when you breathe, I like to visualize my diaphragm just kind of like petting the psoas muscle on the way down and telling it to calm down. And sometimes that can help, like when I'm having a little bit of an acting up with it, like it's getting a little spasmy. But
I love that visual.
Yeah, it's a nice visual. It helps me connect with the breath a little bit. So that's one nice thing about the diaphragm and the psoas connection is like when you address one, you're kind of starting to address the other.
That's funny because today I had a thought of like our organs just need to learn how to all get along because it's like our brains are sending them all these mixed messages because we're in disharmony and there's tight fascia and there's all this like trauma built in there, whatever. And it's like I just was putting like my prana through and being like, just everybody get along. We're part of one big functioning machine. And I feel like that mirrors what's going on in the world. It's like, can we all just, we all need to work together. We're all We all got a beating heart.
And the interesting thing is the body wants to be in equilibrium.
But it's something.
Yeah, and so your body's always looking for equilibrium. So sometimes that's helpful when I'm having a pain experience. It's like something's going on, and it's my body giving me a signal to like, let's listen. So in a way, for me, and I'm saying this if anybody's watching, like I hate my psoas muscle. Well, don't say that, right? Sorry, bless you. So if your psoas muscle is painful, sometimes it's a signal.
It's
right?
messaging you.
It's a message.
Yeah.
And
It's texting you.
It's
Pick it up.
texting
Stop
you.
ignoring it. Don't leave it on red.
Don't ghost it.
Yeah.
Don't just leave those bubbles there, which
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've like 4 texts like that right now. But
But that's such a cool visual too, of like an analogy of like there's just a bunch of bubbles and unread text in your body. Just answer the text and read it.
so the reason it gets qualified as the fight or flight muscle is because this muscle, I don't want to state that. This muscle, when it fires when we do anything. Like you just turned your head to look at me, and your psoas muscle fired a little
Also,
bit.
my it's doing this right
It's
now.
doing that right
too.
now.
Like,
You hit flexors?
yeah, it's
Or
all like trying to.
Stress, all of it. Yeah.
You could sit on a blanket and tilt your pelvis a little bit. It might help a little.
I'm
I mean,
gonna.
not sit up straight. I'm not saying that. Just put it under your sit bones and your tailbone. Really good thing for driving, especially if you have bucket seats. So you're just going to sit on the edge of that blanket and kind of and put a little bit of an angle from, and it might take some of that grabbiness away. No better.
Oh my god!
Right?
I need to
Put it in
do
your
this
car.
every. Yeah.
You can be that lady.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I already got the glasses.
I know. The eyes are getting bad. So it is the muscle that mobilizes us, and that's why it gets called the fight or flight. So if you are needing to get out of a place and run, that muscle fires. So if you are someone that tends to anxiety and your amygdala is constantly scanning for threats and it's finding them all the time, it's constantly mobilizing your psoas muscle. Like, we might need to get out of here.
Always.
Yeah. So, and that's just
Never
something
feeling
to
safe.
know about yourself.
Exactly.
You
Know
never
this.
feel safe.
Yeah.
There's a good possibility that this muscle is going to be a little bit tight. And
Almost
when
atrophied, probably.
well, no. And when I say
Or the
tight,
opposite.
it may not be short, you know,
Yeah.
but it may just be tired
Tense.
because it's constantly bracing.
So what's the opposite of atrophy? Like permanent?
Atrophy is just withered and it doesn't work.
I guess what's the opposite of it's always fired and it never
It's
relaxes?
exhausted.
So does it like turn into cement? Or
No, it's just
No, it just pushes through and it just is like, oh my god, I'm so tired. And it won't stop.
So it's just a matter of getting it to relax. That's why it feels like orgasmic when I can finally relax it. Because I'm like, my whole body does a whole like release.
Yeah.
It's like a full body.
Well, and
orgasm.
that feet up on the chair thing was.
Especially if my heart and my sternum is lifted and my shoulder blades are tucked in the right way and I'm open throat, open chest, and I'm breathing. And then the psoas relaxes, I'm like,
And for
It
you,
feels so good.
That's why you were like, oh my god! No, I'm kidding.
it was getting very.
I was like, it's getting uncomfortable. Y'all might want to leave.
You guys need to leave for a minute. Can we
Leave me alone with the energy of relaxation. There's no tools. I'm like literally just laying here. I'm like, don't worry, it's just a minor exorcism of pleasure.
But I love it that you use that word though,
It is like
because it should feel pleasant. And a lot of times when people are chronically tight in a muscle and
It
they
feels
find
scary.
a place to soften, it's not pleasant.
it feels scary because it feels like you're gonna fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
Because you're used to feeling like you need to hold on to be alive.
you almost have to learn how to do that. And
You gotta
so
let go.
it takes some time.
Rebecca taught me for the first time in our session, our yoga therapy session, how to let go of something. It was just the most small, but it was enough for me to be like, you know? And I felt so safe in how that, and it cracked open enough, and I've been able to use the tools to like continue opening,
Yeah.
even though it's still like we're still working our ass off.
And that's the thing with this kind of work is if you have a tendency to anxiety, you're probably still going to have a tendency to anxiety. This is a tool to help you manage it.
Not erase it.
And if you're like beating yourself up over, why don't this relax? My psoas muscle has been cranky as long as I've known about it.
Yeah.
And I actually, oh, this is interesting. I'll tell you about it. So when I'm doing this training called Somatic Experiencing, and it's all about trauma release and chronic stress release. So this is kind of what my yoga therapy practice is morphing into, is working on this way of getting people to experience things in their body. So cool. So
that's why we love her. Yeah. It's magic. Thank you.
So one of the things that I have to do to complete the program is meet with my own somatic experiencing practitioner. So it's like a therapist. And a lot of therapists do this. Some of them are licensed therapists, some of them are not. So I'm meeting with my therapist who does the somatic experiencing. And we were going in stages on the training, and we were reading about falls, like trauma from falls, trauma from car accidents, trauma from drowning. And I found myself getting really activated. And I was like, why is this so hard to read? Why am I getting irritated with everybody in this cohort today? And so I met with her a couple weeks later, and I was like, hey, this is what was going on. And I remembered that when I was probably, I can't remember, I was graduating from high school or college, my mother and I were walking through a mall, and we ran into my cousin that I hadn't seen in probably 10, 15 years, and she was 15 years older than me. So we were like, oh yeah, I'm graduating and everything. So she's like, oh, okay, so you never had any learning disabilities from that fall, like in hitting your head? And my mom's like, excuse me? And so when she was babysitting me, and I was a very young baby because I walked pretty early. So I rolled off, this was in the 70s, so I rolled off the changing table because there weren't any guardrails.
Right.
And I hit my head. And I have no memory of it, but I was like, at the time, just thinking, that's weird. My mom was pissed, obviously.
She not told her?
She didn't tell anybody. She thought she did, but I mean, she was probably 15 or younger. I don't remember how old she was, how much older than me she was. So she's probably terrified, you know, I told her was having their baby. And I was probably fine by the time I got home. So I went through this whole session with I told my somatic experiencing person about that. And we were talking about and there were all these patterns of tightness that were coming up on my body. There were these things that we did. I have no memory of it, but it was just working through that. And it's like, it can be something as small as that happened. And it's not necessarily abuse. It's not even like a trauma, like big T. Yeah. It's just you had a sudden thing happen, and that developed a part of your brain that like, we need to watch out for that happening again. Yeah. And I am very terrified of heights. It's getting a little like, I'm going to work on it a little. But it's that kind of thing. So why am I like this? Who knows?
You could have bopped your gourd.
So just letting yourself listen to, you could have bopped your gourd. Just letting yourself listen to your body and what's showing up, and supporting it and nourishing it and letting it be. Yeah. And that's where that softening comes in. And it's fascinating. Yeah, we can't like muscle our way out of this. I used to dig tools into my psoas muscle to release it. And now I'm like, just don't do that. I mean, if you aren't a super activated kind of tendency towards high activation, anxiety, maybe it's okay for you, but I just think softer is better for that part of the body specifically. Because don't dig anything in there. Get rid of the lacrosse balls. Even the myofascial release balls. I can show you some stuff. I'll show you some stuff that'll help. And like so much more than that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So you think the myofascial ball activates the nervous system?
I think it does for some people.
When you're trying to do a psoas release?
I think it does for some people. I think it definitely has a tendency to with the psoas. But like other parts of the body, definitely I use them. But there are some people who are so activated, they start pushing a myofascial release ball into their body, they can't handle it. Yeah. And it's not that there's anything wrong with them, it's that it's just too much too soon, right?
Yeah, that's where I was last year, and we used the softer ball for my abdomen because
always there was use a soft ball for your abdomen.
Yeah, because you said there were probably knots in my abdomen from or trigger points from using my neck to work out or to do my ab work.
And your tight psoas muscle.
And it was already tight, so I'm just creating all these knots basically.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that to relieve. I've been doing a lot of ball work and stuff like that to find trigger points. But when it comes to like the deep stuff, I don't know. I feel like it's softening enough to where I can start targeting it a little bit better.
Well, and this is the reason I don't use it on the psoas muscle. It's the muscle of mobilization. So if you have this tendency towards activation and to the SNS, you're operating in the SNS part of your nervous system mostly, which is a lot of us.
Yeah.
most of us probably. And I'm lumping myself into that. Like I do the work and I'm still, that's just kind of my lean over here. So if you are working through all those things, you've got this amygdala, which is the part that's looking for threats in your brain. And interestingly enough, there's a correlation between people with high anxiety and a larger amygdala. So it's real good at doing
Mine
its
is
job.
huge.
They're scanning, yeah. So they are scanning. So if you put something, if you're pressing something into your body and it's painful,
It lights up the
threat.
amygdala.
Yeah. So why would it relax?
Well, because we're conditioned to think pain is gain, so that
Yeah.
totally doubles down on the.
Yeah, but your body's
Wrong
like,
signal.
I don't want this.
The body's like, what the fuck?
No, I know what you mean. Like, I have spots on my shoulders where it's just such a good feeling. Like, it's like, oh. But even there,
Almost hedonistic.
I back out a little bit now. I used to be the kind of person where I'd get on the massage table and I'd be like, I want to be worried that I'm not getting out of here alive.
Yeah.
And
we need a
Yeah.
safe word.
no, we need
Yeah.
a safe word. And
Pull out the tenderizer, dude.
yeah,
Just
just go for it.
yeah.
But less is usually more when you've got an activated nervous system. So you can still do myofascial release, but you maybe just don't, not so aggressively.
It's just probably the same with our neck muscles, where it's you go real
be
gentle,
so careful with that.
because all the
Yes.
fluids and like,
Oh yeah.
that's what Rachel told me. So I was like, I need to go. And she was like, you need to go like that to like wake up all the small systems.
You definitely do. I was having, and this is a qualified, still think he's a great massage therapist. It was just one of those weird things. He's working on this part of my neck. My whole face went numb.
That's what I'm saying.
Half of my face went numb for quite a while. I went back and we worked on it a little and it softened up, but it was several weeks. I
Oh
wasn't
my
sure it was
God. I thought you meant like hours.
It was numb.
See, yeah, we
You need to be
careful.
very careful with
That's
this
like
area.
the knots when I feel the electricity, like that's when I know I need to do some release or some hang or some relax or some somatic or some calm the fuck down something. Because it's like electricity, like all the fascia that's bound up around here.
And another thing you can do, because you were saying when you're laying down in that psoas release, which you'll see later, there's this area was tingling, you said?
Yeah, it's like, but it all is connected to this muscle and it runs down. It's all this tension that I carry because the closed chest and it reaches up to my jaw.
So when you are trying to soften your psoas muscle, you are probably going to get, when you go into that constructive breath pose, you actually probably want to elevate your head just a little bit, just to take some of that pull off.
Yeah, it's just the pull. That's
And
it.
I need to do it.
Yeah.
One way you can tell this is something that I can just walk people through in practice. Do you want to let him? Yeah. I can pause for a sec.
You just
keep chit-chatting.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me? Because this might help yours too, because of everything you're doing.
I should.
So Rachel's letting.
Oh, he's coming back.
Oh, he wants to come back up. These dogs, they're so manipulative.
They're so spoiled. We love them.
The door closes.
Oh.
No,
You just wanted to be included. You just wanted to be with us. So if you're wondering, like, do I have a tight psoas muscle, a tight psoas muscle? Is there something going on? Is it shortened? One way you can tell, and this isn't for certain, but it's a sign. So like if you're trying to figure this out by yourself, lay down on the floor with nothing underneath you. And if your hamstrings, the back of your legs, are not touching the floor, and if your bottom ribs are not relaxed, and you're not engaging, you're not pushing anything down, if your bottom ribs in the back are lifted away from the floor. So if you feel that natural curve in your spine, and then it doesn't go back down into somewhere around your shoulders, good signs of a tighter psoas muscle. So one thing that I recommend doing, there's a lot of somatic movements I do to release the psoas, which are a little bit complicated to explain on here, but I'm going to give your listener a code for a free access to my YouTube. So I've got some practices on there that I guide people through, or call me. I can work with people virtually or in person. But one thing you can do is prop up your head. Like just put a yoga block or a cushion behind your head, and if that brings your ribs down a little bit, good sign. And so when I'm doing core strengthening, and I don't do a lot of sit-up kind of thing, I do more functional movement on the floor. I always have a block behind my head because I know that muscle is cranky and I just want to take it offline. So I'm actually working transversus abdominis and not just that big hip flexor.
Yeah.
So, because you can work to strengthen your psoas muscle, but I don't want to do it when I'm trying to strengthen my core.
Right.
It is part of the core,
You
but
want to put it in the background first.
right. So that
blur it out.
That blur it a little bit, yeah. So that can take it offline. Another thing you can do, that probably won't put your hamstrings back down, but that's my personal sign that my psoas muscle has gotten tight. When I lay on my back, my hamstrings aren't touching. I do a few things and then they come back down. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Well,
he's insistent.
He's
here.
Look, you can see
All
him.
night long.
It's a ball.
No.
You want this ball.
Are you gonna let go?
Well, we're gonna. Mojo, ball, give it, drop it, Mojo. No, he's engaged now.
Yeah.
I have one last question.
Okay.
I saw something on the internet about yeah, I was thinking the same thing about these right here being like sacs and not muscles. That they're like I don't know what this part is, but when they're like distended, it's like carries a lot of emotional weight. Like, what is this muscle right here?
Where did you see that?
Just on someone's Instagram. I don't know.
So be careful about what you take off.
This is why we did it.
We're
Yeah.
on Instagram. But
You know what I mean? It's
So-
like this soft.
there's a lot of muscles there.
It's like, to me, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a drum.
It's probably your psoas muscle you're touching right
God,
there.
I'm like working out my psoas.
Maybe, but so like we've all got like these sacs of fluid in our joints. They're
Mhm.
called bursa.
Yeah.
So you ever hear somebody having bursitis in their shoulder or their hip?
Mhm.
It's when they're little fluid filled sacs and they cushion the joint. You don't want to if that's what they're talking about. I don't think that is because you're pointing more to your abdomen.
Yeah,
not
it's
to
like
your hip
this.
joint.
It's like where this meets this.
I have never heard that, Rachel.
Because I'm like, okay, mine are full.
Or are they
I need
talking
to
about
cry.
more
Maybe you just have to poop.
energetic? Maybe you need to. Were they just? Is it like energetic stuff they were talking about? Okay,
That
so
you have an emotion. It's a sign if they're distended, which I was like, okay, because I've seen where sometimes mine are flush, and when it looks like they're a water balloon kind of full.
what do you think?
I feel like I need to cry.
Do you feel like you need to cry?
Well, I always do, but no.
Your tear ducts are way down there.
Yeah.
Those are supplying. So,
But I think this is the area of shame that I'm working out, of reclaiming my sovereignty and being physiologically in touch and being embodied in this area instead of like hiding from it. And I feel like that was a little bit of a wall, and that reel hit me because there was kind of like tear ducts of my guarding my
second chakra.
Yeah.
So
and first.
Well, that's true.
Just guarding my whole like sensuality and sense of worthiness of being alive, like survival.
Yeah. If that is what is resonating with you, then work with that.
This is what
That's not going to be across the board for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like I think there was, I love the woo-woo part of things, but I also, I love my science with a healthy sprinkle of woo. I think that there's no, like, if my knee hurts, that doesn't mean that I have a problem with my father.
Right. That's why I wanted to bring it to you, because I was like, it resonated, but then it made me wonder if it's physiological or if it's just emotional or if there's any science.
There might be something for you.
Yeah, and it could be connected to my psoas, like
it
we just
could be
said.
connected to your psoas. Like we
shame.
absolutely carry emotion in the body,
Yeah.
and you very well may be carrying shame right there,
Yeah.
and that's just where you're stored. Like, but it may show up somewhere else another day.
Right.
That's
Sometimes
the thing.
the sparks in my neck, and that's okay. I love that.
Because like when I'm working with a person, you know, I'm not going to be feeding like, see what your first chakra is doing.
Yeah.
because it might not, when they're thinking about survival and support, if somebody maybe who didn't have that as a child, it may not show up for them there. It may show up for them in the pit of their stomach. It may show up as tingling in the arms. Like I want them to have the agency of seeing what's happening in that moment and listening to the body, because the body, like getting to know what your body is telling you. And I think there's when we get those books that are like, what's your body saying? And it's like, here's this formula. It's a little bit of a disservice to people. Like I love the chakras because it kind of gives you a framework, but it also, you know, it also gives you a pen.
It's narrow.
PEN pen. Like a pink pen, not a writing pen.
Oh, okay.
So it also kind of hems you in. And I think that everybody responds a little bit differently. And that's important to remember. You know?
I really like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well, thank you. Gosh,
Of course.
mine feel better just like speaking it
Yeah.
to our listener. And
Your little tear ducts.
Yeah, they cried a little.
And so like just what you experienced right there is like they feel a little better. You've been
It's 'cause I'm
wondering
telling
about
you.
that.
Yeah.
You're listening to your body. You're like, oh, okay, so that is what's going on for me. And it's giving yourself permission.
Yeah.
But
It's
like
whatever you want to think, sweetie. You know,
if I'm hurting down here, it's probably something very different than what's going on for you because we have
we hold our energies differently,
Yeah.
our emotions differently,
Yeah.
places in our body.
different lives.
Yeah.
We went through different things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very cool.
That's why we're all unique reflections
Exactly.
of something. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, cool. With that, I think
It's a wrap.
yeah, we're
Look at that.
yeah, we're going to cut in some of Rebecca's go-to. What do we call it? Your go.
Just so as release, things you can do
Yeah.
pretty easily. Probably have things you can use at home. You
Right.
don't need like a whole bunch of like tools to dig into your Psoas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, watch out for your Instagram ads because I got one the other day. It was this doctor who was this lady talking about like how important the Psoas was, and I was like, she knows.
Did
Keep
you have that
talking.
little thing with the
The hook.
points?
It's
Oh.
like this whole, and then you turn it, and I was like, Rebecca
So-
would never.
I have one of those.
No way.
I do. We call it the getting stick now because Gracie loses
Oh my
all the
God.
balls under the sofa and can't get them out because our sofa's really low. So like we keep it to get tennis balls out from
Oh.
under the sofa in the bed.
So use it for the sofa, not the Psoas.
Yeah, use it for your sofa and not your Psoas. So it's really handy if you want to get one, but you know,
Maybe just use a broom handle.
maybe just a broom.
Yeah.
Don't have it in your house. Just keep it away.
Cool. Well, we're gonna chop all this up and put her go-to moves because I've worked with Rebecca personally and professionally, but I've worked with her as a client and it's opened up a lot, literally. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So
Thank
we'll
you.
yes, thank you for coming, and we'll put all your stuff.
Yeah, I'll
Sure.
send you the links to those books I referenced. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And can you tell us where we can find you so we have it from your
Yes.
mouth?
RebeccaTrussell.com. So all my contact information, it's Trussell with 2 S's and 2 L's. S is in Sam, not Truffle, which my first health insurance card was to Rebecca Trussell. I had to get it back over. So RebeccaTrussell.com, and I've got links to some products. I've got links to my online classes. I'm going to give you the code to send to post for your listeners so they can get the first month for free.
Awesome.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
pretty cheap. It's like if you sign up, it's $8 a month.
It's so
Okay.
worth it though.
Yeah.
Investing in yourself is gonna pay off even if it doesn't feel like you have any money.
Yeah.
$8 a month is a huge investment.
That's a coffee.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
right? It's a coffee now. So.
Yeah.
Make your coffee at home
And do your Psoas releases with Rebecca.
Thank
Okay.
you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love it. We're so excited. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I think Ooh, bye. We have like 5 people.
I know. I'm
Hey,
like, I want to wave.
we're on there too. I
Wave,
forgot.
wave,
Yeah.
Wave.
Don't mind the other creepy camera in the corner.
We'll be back.
We're still probably recording. LOL.